to use the microphone. I just have a loud voice. I didn't prepare anything today, but as she said, a disabled vet of the Iraq War. Spent 3 years in the Navy. Climbed up the ranks really fast, from E1 to E5 in 2 years. I was hit by a Humvee. I backed over. It bumped me in the back of the head, herniated about 5 discs. The Navy performed 1 surgery to fix 1 disc. That's it. I was 25 years old. This is something that's going to affect me the rest of my life. I tried Dilaudid, which is about 7 times stronger than morphine. It's a synthetic. I'm allergic to morphine. I'm allergic to steroids, so they can't do everything they would do with somebody that's not allergic to those. I can't take the steroids because I go into a frenzy. It just doesn't work for me. So I found cannabis, and actually I was going to try it recreationally. Hey, what the hell, 26 years old, let's try it. It worked the first time, and every time since then, it has worked. It stops the swelling. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's also, the pain relief is amazing. I have never had pain relief like that. It also works on PTSD, or anxiety, or any seizures. There's so many uses for this medicine. Even if you're just going to do it recreationally, you're going to get some benefit out of it because it has an antibacterial property to it. It also is, what's the word? I can't think of it. Antioxidant. So, thanks, Gary. So this is like taking a vitamin. It really does no harm if you vaporize it or if you ingest it. Smoking is not good for your health. We all know that. Everybody here knows that smoking is not good for your health. But it's not going to cause cancer. It's not going to cause all the problems that tobacco or nicotine are going to cause you. And from my experience, what is it, like 50% of vets that are disabled coming back from Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea, wherever they're at, are using cannabis to medicate. They're self-medicating. This plant has been used to self-medicate since mankind started. My police side, I never really was interested in busting quote-unquote potheads. It was never an interest for me. There are much, much bigger fish to fry. I think that police that focus solely on busting people that use cannabis are a joke. They are not doing their job. There are murderers. I realize that police presence is something that is taught to every police officer. It's not really needed. We know what the laws are. If we choose to follow them, that's our business. But to end this prohibition, we're just going to do what we're doing here. It's not going to be some big uprising. It's not going to be a big fight. It's people like you. People like you. We're all just going to do what we want. The heck with the government. That's what's going to happen. That's what's been going on for, 70 years? They still haven't eradicated this plant. They're not going to. It's not going anywhere. And people are going to still be using it because it's effective. That's all I got.
Thank you, Tristan. Now I'd like to take it over to Normal J from Northern Wisconsin. Normal, he is going to run over all of the lovely things that this amazing plant can do. And here it is.
I think, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. It's great to see new faces, old faces, politicians, community leaders, young, old, everybody in between. That's truly what the cannabis issue is. It's a bipartisan issue. It's not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. It's not an independent issue. It's not a libertarian issue. What it is a people's issue. From our field work, we've found a tremendous amount of support for all forms of legalization. That includes industrial hemp for food, fuel, and fiber. That includes a medical marijuana law, and it includes also ending the war on drugs, ending federal marijuana prohibition once and for all. So I see a lot of familiar faces here today. Rather than go into the wonderful benefits of the cannabis plant, which are really a topic that you could explore all by itself. Whether you just want to talk about the hemp seed, the nutritional values in it, some of the fuels and oils that you can make from it, whether it's the fabric. A lot of people don't know that flax seed makes a fabric. Cannabis seed also can make a fabric. So there's more to industrial hemp than rope, and there's more to medical marijuana than smoking dope. But when it comes down to it, the war on drugs or the federal prohibition of marijuana be looked at as a states' rights issue if you wanted to. Like I said, there's multiple ways that we can approach this, but what we need to do is network together, have a cohesion, have a family-type unity, work on the issue from all fronts. We might have an industrial hemp supporter on one end, we might have a medical marijuana supporter on the other, we might have just somebody who wants to end the war on drugs altogether because they see it as a waste of taxpayer dollars. That's what it's going to take to get any sort of legislation moved in Wisconsin, is to talk, have those people talk to their elected officials and communicate what cannabis reform means to them. But there are some important things that are going on right now. It was great. We're going to give one more big hand for the Jackie Rickert Medical Marijuana Act. Now we have a reason to push it in Wisconsin. We didn't have a reason to fight before. We have a reason to fight now. So now is the time to get active. Now is the time to organize, because we can't wait till November. We need to organize. We need to network now. We need to let everybody know that not only are we trying to end federal marijuana prohibition, but we're trying to alleviate some pain and suffering here in Wisconsin, both economically and to patients' hands. So what we need to do is get that support out there. Make sure everybody is aware of it. Battle on all fronts. Take it on every angle. You'll be surprised on the heads you'll turn and the hearts that you'll pull on by having regular conversations with regular people and asking them for help. Ask them to take action. Ask them to call their elected official to show up at that listening session with you. That's the way we're going to make reform happen. That's truly a movement. So now, there are some important things that are going on the federal level. The first one is we do have an Industrial Hemp Act that is introduced again. It is called the Industrial Hemp Farming Act of 2011. No clever title there is needed. Everybody knows what industrial hemp means. The bill number is H.R. 1831. Just to give you a quick background on that, Texas Republican Ron Paul and actually a coalition of 25 co-sponsors once again are seeking to allow the commercial farming of industrial hemp. The Industrial Hemp Farming Act, again, is House Bill 1831, would basically exclude low-potency varieties of marijuana from federal prohibition. If this measure is approved, it's going to grant state legislators the authority to license and regulate the commercial production of hemp as an industrial and agricultural commodity. A lot of people don't know, but there's actually already several states, including North Dakota, Montana, and Vermont, that have enacted regulations to allow for the cultivation of this plant, the hemp cannabis plant, under the state law. But however, none of these states or these laws can be implemented in these states without federal approval. The passage of 1831 would remove those existing federal barriers and allow those states that wish to regulate the commercial hemp production, it really grants them the authority to do so. The report that we are using, or that we're sharing, I guess, with our legislators is the 2010 Congressional Research Service Report. We have the report archived on our blog. It's a PDF. You can certainly pull it up. But basically, the nuts and bolts of it state that there's about 30 countries currently in the world, including Europe, Asia, North America, South America, that do permit their farmers to grow hemp as a commodity product. The United States does not do this currently. We are the only industrialized nation not to be cultivating the industrial hemp plant. Currently, we import all of our raw hemp and finished. We do make some finished goods here, but all raw hemp seed is imported. Unfortunately, the reason that one of the costs involved in that is that the U.S. companies that are specializing in these goods have no choice but to import that material. So as soon as we see this ban lifted, we're going to see hemp come back into favor just because of some cost that's going to be avoided in the whole situation. If we can grow domestic, it's much better than importing. So the previous versions of the Hemp Farming Act that were introduced failed to receive a public hearing or committee vote. And that's something that unfortunately is quite common in the legislation process. Bills get introduced, but they never get through the committee, they never get through the process, and it never ultimately ends up on the floor for politicians to vote on.